In the shadowy depths of a restless night, where the line between reality and the abyss of nightmares blurred, there was a place known only as the Forever Pit of the Forgotten Souls. It was said that those who fell into its gaping maw were lost to the world, their screams echoing into eternity. The story begins with Madison, a curious soul with an insatiable appetite for adventure. One fateful evening, Madison stumbled upon an ancient tome in the attic of an old, decrepit mansion. She stumbles upon a book, bound in tattered leather, whispers of forgotten places and hidden realms. Among its pages, a map led to a pit, a chasm so deep that it was said to pierce the very fabric of the earth. Driven by the thrill of the unknown, Madison set out under the cloak of twilight, the map clutched tightly in her hand. The journey was treacherous, through gnarled forests, over slippery peaks, snakes slithering all around and crows swooping down. Until finally, the pit loomed before her, a gaping cold dark hole no longer ground, its edges jagged like the teeth of a colossal beast. She felt a wave of excitement and fear rush upon her. Madison peered into the abyss. A cold wind rose from the depths, carrying with it crying whispers of the damned.
Help us, save us.
Then a strong, stern voice.
No, come stay with us for eternity.
Madison, spooked, suddenly steps back and falls out of her sandals. The air was thick with the stench of death and decay. The darkness below seemed to pulsate with a life of its own. Compelled by forces unseen, Madison got up and stepped forward. The grass was stiff and brittle upon her feet. The voice was heard again, this time with a hypnotizing tone of demand.
Closer.
As Madison took another step forward, the ground beneath her started to tremble with anticipation. And then, without warning, the earth roared and gave way. Madison let out a shearing scream of horror as she fell into the forever. The world above her receding into a pinprick of light as the darkness swallowed everything in sight. The fall was endless and grew fast, time stretching into infinity. The air whooshing past, a cacophony of wails and cries that melded with her own. Madison's heart pounds faster and louder with each second's past, a drumbeat in her chest that echoes the terror of vast. Shapes twisted in the periphery, grotesque figures that reached out to her with clawed hands from the wall, their touch on her skin like fire and ice. What's happening? Where am I?
A fall that never ends, to be precise.
Madison kicking and wailing her arms in the air as the monster figures followed her with despair. Below, an inferno awaited, a sea of flames that danced and writhed with malicious intent. The heat scorching Madison's skin as the cold freezing air sealed her burnt flesh. The light was blinding, and yet the fall continued, deeper into the bowels of the hollow pit. It was there, in the heart of the flames, that Madison saw it, a figure shrouded in shadow, its eyes burning with a malevolent glow. It had teeth so sharp they cut the air. Fangs that grew larger with each chomp of its jowl covered in hair. It spoke with a voice that was both a whisper and a roar, words that twisted the mind and tore at the soul.
You are mine now, a plaything for eternity to come.
Madison's descent slowed, the flames melting her flesh, the cold darkness binding her dripping skin like steel mesh. She floated above the inferno below. Suspended in the stench, she sees the horror figure grow. Its form shifting, a nightmare made manifest that had no rest. It reached for Madison's throat, its grip a promise of unending torment. Madison knew this would be her last final moment. And then, just as the figure's grasp tightened, Madison awoke. Gasping for breath, drenched in sweat, Madison lay in the safety of the attic, the ancient tome resting innocently nearby. Madison pondered herself. Was it just a dream, a hallucination, a figment of her own imagination? And yet, the terror lingered a shadow at the edge of thought, a reminder of the fall and the eyes that burned in the dark. Madison shuddered in thought. It felt so real. The mansion creaked as to say, "Come back to play another day."
A fall that never ends, to be precise.
For in the world of nightmares, some falls are never ending, and the forever pit of the forgotten souls waits, hungry for the next soul to lose its way upon descending.
I'll be waiting right here for your next never ending.